Hi, I'm Sally Blakemore, and I'm a paper artist, and this is how you make a book. In this particular case, it's a pop-up book. We're book packagers, and we have a production and idea team. We come up with original ideas that we present to publishers. The book publishers give us money to produce the book, and they also distribute the book, something we really can't do. So packagers come up with the original ideas, they get the creators, the artists and the writers, and the paper engineers, and they produce comps to sell to publishers. The comps are presented to publishers at trade shows or just making an appointment and going to their offices so they can see how we think. Publishers can also hire packagers with their own ideas for licenses, for movies, different kinds of products. So once they're interested, we have a meeting with the publisher, we develop a schedule, and we talk about the contract. The contract really has a lot to do with the price point and the budget for the creative. In this case, for a $9.99 retail, the packager's budget is $1.25 a unit, and that's to cover everything: paper, design, production. The larger the quantity, the cheaper the manufacturing price. We go to the idea stage. We have design, paper engineering, art and writing, and comping and production. Then we go to a redesign stage, and we really look at what kind of editorial we're approaching for that particular publisher. We develop a nesting sheet. Here you see the gripper bar for the press, and we have just this amount of paper in order to put the entire book inside this piece. Then we make a final comp with the nesting sheet, and we count all the glue points because that's how the printer prices the specs. We take them to offshore printers because it's too expensive to do it in the United States, and the offshore printers seem to be the best. They have the best people, and they're used to doing it, and they have all the machinery we need to do special effects. They analyze the specs, paper, glue points, die cutting, and then they send us a unit price for 3 different quantities. Once the pricing works, the contract is signed, and we get a third advance from the publisher. Then the packaging team really goes to work. It usually takes us 1 year and sometimes 4 years after the schedule is okayed. And we produce a new comp, an approval stage, art begins, design begins, writing edits, approval number 2, and we refine and produce the book for approval for press. Then we go into final die lines where we draw them on the computer or by hand. We do a final comp that's going to look exactly like the finished book, and we send that final to the publisher, and they say okay to ship to the printer. We package the whole thing, the discs, the comp, the nesting sheets, and the specifications. We take a break, and we send it to Colombia, China, Singapore, Malaysia, Ecuador, Thailand, and more countries that have really great hand-eye assembler specialists. We send it to the preliminary studies group at the printer, mostly women, and they analyze every aspect of the job, and they figure out how to teach it most efficiently to the entire assembly group. Then we also send it for safety checking, for the liability for the publisher. If we've added any special effects or anything, we have to know it's not going to be poison, there won't be any lead in the ink. Once it gets that okay, we're ready to go. The printer makes a final approval comp for not only the packager, but the publisher. We look at it, we analyze it, we approve to print, and that's when the publisher gives us another third payment. Then I jump on a plane and go for the press check, which is always fun. Ni hao. This is our press meeting. We meet with all the printers and the assembly people to establish the different stages of the schedule. In this case, we're talking to the preliminary studies group, some of the assemblers and the printers and die cutters. We meet with the assembly team. It's like 400 people working on your book, and they have an assembly line, a conveyor belt that they set to the slowest person so it's not a big rush. You can't make any glue mistakes with these books because they're each made by hand. Get on press. There'll be 6 men working on the press, 1 man bringing me sheets, and I look at all the different colors on both sides of the sheet. We print on both sides because we die cut the pieces and they have to match whatever's on the base art. So we print the sheets for 25,000 books. We die cut the sheets, and each piece is knocked out by hand with a little hammer. They assemble 25,000 books. They hand bind the books, and the finished approval book is sent to the publisher. Then it's okay to ship. They package them and ship them, in this case, across the South China Sea, all the way to San Francisco. It arrives in San Francisco, goes through port and customs, and once they sign off, it's shipped by ground to me. That's how pop-up books are made.